My friends, today I want to talk to you about something that has the power to completely transform your life. It's not a new gadget, it's not a miracle pill, and it's certainly not a get-rich-quick scheme. What I'm talking about is far more powerful, far more enduring, and far more life-changing than any of those things. I'm talking about changing the way you look at things. Now, you might be thinking, that's it, just change how I look at things. But I'm here to tell you that this simple concept, when truly understood and applied, can revolutionize your entire existence. It can turn your failures into stepping stones, your obstacles into opportunities, and your dreams into realities. You see, life is not just about what happens to you. It's about how you interpret what happens to you. It's about the meaning you assign to events, the perspective you choose to adopt, and the attitude you decide to embrace. And make no mistake, it is a choice. A powerful, life-altering choice that you have the ability to make every single day. Let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed how two people can experience the exact same situation and have completely different reactions? One person sees a problem while another sees an opportunity. One person is paralyzed by fear, while another is energized by challenge. One person gives up, while another perseveres. What's the difference? It's not the circumstance, it's the perspective. You see, your perspective is like a lens through which you view the world. And just like a camera lens, it can zoom in or out, focus on different aspects, and even apply different filters. The question is, what kind of lens are you using? Is it clouded by negativity, doubt, and fear? Or is it clear, focused, and illuminated by possibility? I want you to understand something fundamental. Your perspective shapes your reality. It's not just a matter of positive thinking or wishful dreaming. It's about actively choosing how you interpret and respond to the world around you. It's about taking control of your mental and emotional state, rather than letting external circumstances dictate your inner world. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but you don't understand my situation. You don't know what I'm going through, and you are right, I don't. But what I do know is this. No matter what you're facing, no matter how dire your circumstances might seem, you always have the power to choose your perspective. Always. Let me share a story with you. There was once a young man who grew up in extreme poverty. He had no money, no connections, and seemingly no prospects. But instead of seeing his circumstances as a limitation, he chose to see them as motivation. He didn't have much, but he had a dream and a determination to change his life. This young man decided that education was his way out, but he couldn't afford books. Do you know what he did? He would go to the local library every day after school and copy entire textbooks by hand, page after page, chapter after chapter. Why? Because he refused to let his circumstances dictate his future. He chose to see his poverty not as a roadblock, but as a challenge to overcome. Today, that young man is a successful entrepreneur, employing hundreds of people and making a positive impact in his community. He didn't wait for his circumstances to change. He changed the way he looked at his circumstances. Now, I'm not saying that changing your perspective will magically solve all your problems. What I'm saying is that it will give you the power to face those problems with courage, creativity, and resilience. It will empower you to see solutions where others see only obstacles. Have you ever been lost in a new city? It can be frustrating, even scary. But what happens when you look at a map or use a GPS? Suddenly you have a new perspective. You can see where you are in relation to where you want to go. You can identify different routes, avoid dead ends, and navigate your way to your destination. That's what changing your perspective does for your life. It gives you a map, a way to navigate the complexities and challenges of your journey. This is not a one-time decision. It's not like you wake up one morning, decide to change your perspective, and suddenly everything is perfect. No, my friends. This is a daily practice, a moment-by-moment choice. It's about consistently choosing to see the good, the possible, the potential, even when it's not immediately obvious. Let me give you an example. Imagine you are stuck in traffic. You're running late for an important meeting, and you can feel your stress levels rising with every passing minute. Now, you have two choices in this moment. You can choose to get angry, to curse the traffic, to let your frustration consume you. Or you can choose to see this delay as an opportunity. Maybe it's a chance to listen to that podcast you have been meaning to catch up on. Maybe it's a moment to practice some deep breathing and center yourself before your meeting. Maybe it's even a divine intervention preventing you from being involved in an accident further down the road. The circumstance has not changed, but your experience of it has been completely transformed by your perspective. This is the power you hold, my friends. This is the control you have over your life experience. Now, I want to be clear. Changing your perspective doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending that everything is perfect when it's not. It's not about wearing rose-colored glasses and living in denial. No, changing your perspective is about seeing reality clearly, but choosing to focus on the aspects that empower you rather than those that limit you. It's about asking yourself better questions. Instead of "why is this happening to me?" ask "what can I learn from this?" Instead of "what if I fail?" ask "what if I succeed?" Instead of "why bother?" ask "why not?" You see, the questions you ask yourself shape your focus, and your focus shapes your actions. When you change the questions you ask, you change the answers you receive, and ultimately you change your life. How many of you have ever failed at something? Maybe it was a business venture, a relationship, an exam. Now, how many of you let that failure define you? How many of you allowed that setback to convince you that you weren't good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough? But what if I told you that failure is not the opposite of success, but a part of it? What if you could change your perspective to see failure not as an endpoint, but as feedback, not as a judgment of your worth, but as a teacher guiding you towards improvement? Think about a baby learning to walk. That baby will fall hundreds of times before taking its first successful steps. But does the baby give up? Does it decide, "well, I guess walking just is not for me"? Of course not. The baby persists, adjusts, tries again and again until walking becomes second nature. Why? Because the baby has not learned to fear failure yet. It has not adopted the limiting perspective that falling means it's not good enough. It simply sees each fall as part of the learning process, as valuable feedback guiding it towards success. What if you could adopt that same perspective in your life? What if you could see your failures not as evidence of your inadequacy, but as stepping stones on your path to greatness? How would that change the way you approach challenges? How would it impact your willingness to take risks, to innovate, to push beyond your comfort zone? This is the power of changing your perspective. It can turn your greatest failures into your most valuable lessons. It can transform your biggest setbacks into your most powerful comebacks. We all face them. They are an inevitable part of life. Obstacles are not in your way, they are the way. They are not designed to stop you. They are designed to shape you, to strengthen you, to prepare you for the next level of your journey. If you want to build physical strength, what do? You lift weights, right? You intentionally create resistance for your muscles to work against. Why? Because you understand that it's through overcoming resistance that your muscles grow stronger. The same principle applies to your life. The obstacles you face, the challenges you encounter, they are your life's weight training. They are the resistance against which you build your mental, emotional, and spiritual strength. You have to change the way you look at these obstacles. Instead of seeing them as unfair burdens, see them as opportunities for growth. Instead of asking, "why is this happening to me?" ask, "how can this make me stronger? What can I learn from this? How can I use this to become better?" Let me share another story with you. There was once a butterfly struggling to emerge from its cocoon. A man, seeing the butterfly struggle, decided to help. He took a pair of scissors and carefully cut open the cocoon, freeing the butterfly. But instead of flying away, the butterfly fell to the ground, its wings shriveled and weak. What the man didn't understand was that the struggle to emerge from the cocoon was nature's way of forcing fluid from the butterfly's body into its wings, strengthening them for flight. By helping the butterfly, the man had actually crippled it. The same is true in our lives. The struggles we face, the obstacles we encounter, they are not meant to break us. They are meant to make us. They are the very things that prepare us for the flight of our dreams and aspirations. But this only happens when we change our perspective. When we stop seeing obstacles as our enemy and start seeing them as our ally. When we stop asking "why me?" and start asking "what?" Gratitude is like a magnifying glass for the good in your life. It amplifies the positive. It shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have. And it has the power to completely transform your experience of life. Gratitude is not just about feeling thankful when good things happen. Real, transformative gratitude is about finding something to be thankful for even in the midst of challenges. It's about training your mind to see the gift in every situation, the silver lining in every cloud. Let me give you an example. Imagine you lose your job. Now, your initial reaction might be fear, anger, or despair. And those feelings are valid. But what if you could also find a reason to be grateful in this situation? Maybe this job loss is an opportunity to pursue a career you are truly passionate about. Maybe it's a chance to spend more time with your family. Maybe it's the push you needed to finally start that business you have been dreaming about. When you practice gratitude, especially in difficult times, you are not denying the reality of your situation. You are simply choosing to focus on the aspects of that reality that empower you rather than those that discourage you. And that focus, that perspective, can make all the difference in how you navigate challenges and seize opportunities. We all have them. Those aspirations that light us up inside, that give us a sense of purpose and direction. But how many of us truly believe in our dreams? How many of us are actively pursuing them? The way you look at your dreams determines whether they remain mere fantasies or become your reality. If you see your dreams as unrealistic, as something nice to have but not really attainable, guess what? That's exactly what they remain. But if you change your perspective, if you start seeing your dreams, not just as possibilities, but as probabilities, everything shifts. When you change the way you look at your dreams, you change the way you pursue them. You stop making excuses and start making plans. You stop waiting for the right time and start taking action now. You stop letting fear hold you back and start letting faith propel you forward. Your dreams don't just magically come true because you believe in them. Belief is the foundation, but action is the building blocks. You need to back up your changed perspective with consistent, purposeful action. If you truly believe with every fiber of your being that your dream was not just possible, but inevitable, how would you act differently today? What steps would you take? What risks would you be willing to take? What sacrifices would you be willing to make? That's the power of changing your perspective on your dreams. It doesn't just change how you think. Changes how you act. And it's your actions driven by your perspective that ultimately create your reality. I want to address something that often holds people back from changing their perspective. Fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of what others might think. These fears can be paralyzing, keeping us stuck in old patterns of thinking and behaving. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is simply a signal that you are stretching beyond your comfort zone, that you are growing, that you're alive. The problem is not that you feel fear. The problem is how you look at fear. What if, instead of seeing fear as a stop sign, you could see it as a green light? What if you could interpret fear not as a warning to retreat, but as an invitation to advance? What if you could change your perspective to see fear not as an indicator that something's wrong, but as evidence that you're on the right track? Growth and comfort cannot coexist. If you want to change your life, if you want to achieve your dreams, if you want to become the best version of yourself, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You have to be willing to feel fear and act anyway. But this only happens when you change the way you look at fear. When you stop seeing it as something to be avoided and start seeing it as something to be embraced. When you recognize that on the other side of your fear is everything you have ever wanted. The way you look at the people in your life has a profound impact on the quality of your relationships. And the quality of your relationships has a profound impact on the quality of your life. How often do we focus on what's wrong with the people around us? How often do we dwell on their faults, their shortcomings, their mistakes? But what if we could change our perspective? What if we could train ourselves to look for the good in others, to focus on their strengths rather than their weaknesses, to see their potential rather than their limitations? This doesn't mean ignoring real issues or putting up with mistreatment. It means choosing to see the best in people, even when they are not at their best. It means extending grace, offering forgiveness, and believing in people's capacity for growth and change. When you change the way you look at the people in your life, you change the way you interact with them. And when you change the way you interact with them, you change the dynamic of your relationships. You create an environment of trust, respect, and mutual support. You inspire others to live up to your vision of them. But this change in perspective is not just about how you see others. It's also about how you see yourself in relation to others. Are you constantly comparing yourself to others, always coming up short? Are you letting the opinions of others dictate your self-worth? What if you could change that perspective? What if you could see yourself not in competition with others, but in collaboration with them? What if you could recognize that your worth is not determined by how you measure up to others, but by how true you are to yourself and your values? When you change the way you look at yourself in relation to others, you free yourself from the burden of comparison. You open yourself up to genuine connection, to learning from others without feeling threatened, to celebrating others' successes without diminishing your own. Now, I want to talk about something that's crucial in this journey of changing your perspective. Your environment. You see, your environment, the people you surround yourself with, the information you consume, the places you spend your time, all of this shapes your perspective in profound ways. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, by people who complain and criticize, by media that focuses on everything that's wrong with the world, how easy do you think it will be to maintain a positive, empowering perspective? On the other hand, if you intentionally surround yourself with positivity, with people who inspire and uplift you, with information that educates and motivates you, how much easier will it be to see the world through a lens of possibility and potential? This doesn't mean living in denial or avoiding all negative information. It means being intentional about what you allow into your mental and emotional space. It means choosing your influences wisely, understanding that what you consistently expose yourself to will shape how you see the world and yourself. So I challenge you, take a good, hard look at your environment. Is it supporting the perspective you want to cultivate? Is it feeding your dreams or fueling your doubts? And if it's not serving you, what changes can you make? Maybe it means spending less time with certain people and more time with others. Maybe it means changing your media consumption habits. Maybe it means seeking out new experiences that challenge your current way of thinking. Whatever it is, remember, you have the power to shape your environment, and in doing so, you shape your perspective.